Hello there. Today I thought I'd share 6 general climbing advice that has sprung up into my head as of late. Feel free to use them, ignore them. Here we go. Number 1 would be polling direction. So let's pretend that this is a crimp on the wall that's firmly mounted and is not mobile. Now the most common way to pull down on the crimp is to literally pull straight down in a straight line of force. And by pulling straight down, this works 99% of the time for most climbs. However, when it comes to climbing and movement, you can move in more three-dimensionality. You feel me? So instead of pulling just straight down, in some occasions, you might want to take the crimp and pull it or push it to the right, in which case will allow your body to move left. Likewise, if you take the crimp and pull it to the left, it will allow your body to move right. And it really doesn't take much force to realize that you have the ability to shift where you place the pressure on the hold, even if the hold is completely flat. It's more about just understanding that your body is capable of more movements than just the basic general down. In addition, you also have the capabilities of pulling the hold backwards, in which case that will help bring your body inwards. So when you are climbing next time, instead of just pulling straight down, try playing around with directional forces and you will see that it will literally drag or pull your body inwards. Next one, 2, mastering the undercling. Now, I like underclings because I think they're a pretty funny hold that doesn't appear too often, but unfortunately, I don't have the biggest biceps in the world to help me produce force. But I have realized that when it comes to underclings, there's 2 important things to take note of. Number 1 is the lower you position your feet, the easier it will be to support yourself. Ideally, you want both feet low, but sometimes only one is available. Number 2, and this is the important one, instead of pulling as hard as you can inwards, what you want to do is try to lift your hands up as hard and as fast as you can. Because by doing so, you're going to apply force going upwards with your arms. You're going to apply force going downwards with your feet. And that creates this really nice tension action. Whereas if you just try to pull backwards while applying force down, it's a very slippy slope. Here's a fun bonus thing. Did you know that when you are hangboarding, you can also hangboard like this if you wish to hit your biceps a little bit more? 3, 2 pairs of shoes. Now, if you're really into rock climbing, consider getting yourself 2 pairs of shoes. One of them, the more worn down one, will be your trainers. You will wear your trainers for 99% of your climbs for about 99% of the time. More often than not, you don't need excellent prime rubber to do 99% of your climbs, honestly. Your second pair of shoes will be your sending shoes that you keep in prime condition with lots of good toe rubber and it's not worn down. You will bust this out when you need it to send those 1% of climbs that is very, very difficult. And financially speaking, it costs the same amount of currency to have 2 pairs of climbing shoes at once as opposed to having 2 pairs of climbing shoes at 2 different points in time. 4, chalk your entire hand. Now, chalk is probably the most important thing that aids your climbing, I argue, over shoes. So when you chalk up, don't make the mistake of just hitting it with a little bit of chalk. What you really want to do is get it in there real good. And you want to make sure that the chalk covers the entirety of your palm and even a little bit below your wrist. Not to mention, you want the chalk to go in between all the crevices of your fingers. And if you're like me, you rather just have chalk on the top of your hands as well. And what this does is it guarantees that no matter what type of hold you hold, it will always be in contact with a layer of chalk to prevent sweating off. Now, the way I like to go about chalking up my hands is 1 to 2 minutes before I hop onto my climb, I like to chalk up my hands real good. Right before I hop onto the climb, I like to re-chalk up my hands real good again to make sure that during those 1 to 2 minutes, no sweating has occurred. And if I was to try the climb and I was to fall off, say, the first move, I would chalk up again because now I lost a little bit of chalk time and chalk with that one fall. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And when you are filling out the holes before you climb, you should also make sure your hands are nice and chalk to prevent your sweat from getting onto the holes, making them slippery. I know my hands aren't chalk right now, but that's because I'm inside the house. Number 5 is do your pull-ups. Now, this might just be a me thing, but when I neglect my pull-ups, I notice my ability to pull up on the wall goes down by the good margin amount of noticeability. So if you can't do, say, 10 pull-ups in a row, you are sorely missing out on opportunities of strength that will for sure improve your climbing by allowing you the pure physical might for more range of motion and reach. And if you can't do a one-arm lock-off for say 5 seconds, you are missing out on that potential nugget of strength that will allow you to hold a position and maneuver your feet without, struggling too much. Now, these two strengths are pretty applicable to climbing if you ask me. Strength is never a weakness, and a weakness is always a weakness. 6 is stretch. Now, lately I've noticed I've been neglecting my stretch abilities, and I've noticed it's made me slightly stiffer. Now, it's not exactly the greatest problem of all, but it is a clear indication that I am not maximizing all my stats. And when it comes to becoming the best possible version of yourself upon the wall, it is a great missed opportunity to allow any of your stats to lag behind due to negligence. Now, stretching doesn't need to take nigh on over a millennium, so let me just toss out some quick things. 1, you can't just warm up or cool down with stretching and call it a day. It has to be a regimented workout. 2, if you're not making improvements, 9 times out of 10, you're not trying hard enough. Stretching should be very, very, very uncomfortable, one would say. 3, focus on 1 to 2 stretches. Therefore, you can allocate all your time and energy more efficiently as opposed to spreading it thin over, say, 15 variations of stretches. I myself has personally been doing this pancake stretch for 90% of all my stretching for 100% of my lifetime. Pretty good, I say. Number 4 is don't do progressions, just do the end result. 99% of the time, this is the correct path to go. If you want to be able to do this, the best way to do it is by trying it. It is very applicable stretching for doing this by doing this. Nothing is more spot on in doing the stretch you want to do than by doing the stretch you want to do. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, partner.